When it comes to men and hair loss, we've long heard the phrase bald is beautiful. Not so much when it comes to women. Although baldness is not as common in women as in men, the psychological effects tend to be much greater. Tonight, just before 6, we take you to Goshen, where they're using a new technique to give a local woman back her once triumphant head of hair. And this is a far cry from the old-fashioned plugs. Judith Goodkin is originally from South Bend, but traveled from her new home in Toronto today to take care of a frustrating problem with hair loss she's been dealing with for years.
Hair for women is a very kind of sexy, society accepted thing. And lots of women my age are suffering from thinning hair.
In fact, women make up 40% of American hair loss sufferers, generally noticing it in their 40s and 50s. That's why Judith is at Pierce Cosmetics in Goshen, where Dr. Chris Pierce says hair transplantation has changed drastically.
We all remember the doll hair look of hair plugs, and to this day, people still think that hair transplant is plugs.
Far from it. Dr. Pierce went to Los Angeles for training on a procedure called follicular unit hair transplantation. He says many Hollywood stars are using it as a preventative measure, and it's made plugs obsolete.
We now transplant one hair at a time.
Needing just a local anesthetic, Dr. Pierce removes a small strip of hair from the back of Judith's head, hidden now by her own hair. Next, his assistants, Vita and Tatiana, painstakingly spend hours separating each hair.
What I do, I trim those slivers in separating them into 1 follicular unit, 2, and 3.
And so it's natural, the appearance is indistinguishable from our own natural hair.
Judith will be in this chair for roughly 8 hours, but brought a book for reading and says getting that first strip of hair removed was...
I slept through it. That was the only portion that I was worried about. I napped.
With enough hair follicles separated, Dr. Pierce and Tatiana numb the area on Judith's head where they'll be working.
Whenever you want us to stop, okay? Right now?
Yeah, maybe.
So that's the worst you're going to feel, right?
Yes. Yes. And so then you take a couple of deep yoga breaths and you go back for more.
All numb, they start Judith's transplant, inserting the hair in the angle it would normally grow, making incisions with a tiny pin-like tool.
And we're making them individually in between the currently existing hairs. The hairs are very tiny, and we plant them by making little pinholes. And the little pinholes tighten around the hair when you place it.
While we couldn't stay for the entire 8-hour procedure, you can see the little red spots Judith will sport for the next 10 days. Then over the next year, her hair should grow in fully. And Judith, who's tired of dealing with extensions and hair powder, says she's not splitting hairs on the length of time it will take to grow.
I plan on remaining in the competitive working world for at least another 5 years. And so 3 months, 6 months is really not a major portion of that.
For now, she says, she'll sport some great hats, but soon she'll be saying goodbye to bad hair days forever. Dr. Pierce is the only doctor in our area performing this procedure, which he says also works very well on men. He says while Propecia and Rogaine can slow down hair loss, they will not grow your hair back. So how much does this cost? It depends on the area he's filling. In Judith's case, and you saw she had a pretty large area to fill in, the cost was about $4,500. Does it last? Dr. Pierce says the failure rate is very low and the hair will continue to grow for the rest of your life. And for more information on the procedure, we have a link to Pierce Cosmetics on our website. Just click on this story and I'll also have a link on my Facebook page. And Mike will have a final check of the forecast after the break. Stay with us.